I'd like to talk about seeking God. Have you ever lost something and searched frantically to find it? You probably noticed that depending on how you looked for it and the fervor with which you searched, your success in the search was either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's the same with God. The method with which and the fervor with which we seek God really does turn out to matter. There's a passage in Matthew chapter 7 that speaks to this. In verse 13, it says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." You see there in the scriptures, it differentiates between the path one chooses in their search for a final destination. What keeps us from searching and from seeking? Because there are times when we probably know we should be looking, but we put it off. To keep things brief, I'll cut to the chase. Oftentimes it's worry. Worry that the path that the search will take us on will be uncomfortable. Worry that it'll be so much work. Worry that the search itself will change who we are. And worry that once we get to the final destination, we may not like it there. Matthew chapter 6 in verse 25 through 34, in a fairly popular passage, talks about not worrying. It says, "Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, drink, or about your body, what you'll wear. Is not life more than food, and the body not more than clothes?" It goes on to tell us to consider the birds of the air or the flowers of the field, and how little they seem to worry, and yet how beautiful they seem to be, and how well taken care of they are. And then in verse 33 of that same chapter, it says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these other things that we tend to worry about will be given to us as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." If we seek rightly, we will find. We don't have to be a victim to worry. And the good news is, we're not the only ones seeking. God is a seeker too. In the book of Luke, in the 15th chapter, really the entire chapter is devoted to describing God as someone who seeks. And there are 3 stories or parables in that chapter. We're going to take a look at just one of those 3. In Luke chapter 15, starting in verse 7. "I tell you that in the same way there will be rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and she loses one. Doesn't she light a lamp and sweep the house and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me. I have found a lost coin.' In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." In this story, it makes God a seeker. Describes him like this old woman who diligently searches her house, gets out the broom and searches and seeks until she finds that thing of value that she's looking for. The good news is, we're worth finding. We're that thing that God is seeking too. So as we seek him rightly, and he seeks us as well, the coming together is inevitable. If you'd like to learn more about seeking God, text SEEKING to 414-659-0532. And I'd love to send out to you one of our great study booklets from the Fox Valley Church of Christ that describes seeking God in greater detail and much more.